I strongly negate the resolution that the United States military ought to abide by the principle of non-intervention. While non-intervention may appear principled on the surface, in reality it can undermine global security, allow mass atrocities to occur, and fail to protect both U.S. interests and lives of innocent civilians abroad. For this debate, I define non-intervention as the principle that states should refrain coercively from interfering in the internal or external affairs of other states. Today, my value is global security, which refers to the condition in which nations and international organizations cooperate to maintain safety and stability across the world, addressing threats that transcend national borders and cannot be obtained by any single state. My criterion is preventing threats before they materialize, because proactive and responsible military action can avert larger crises, save lives, and maintain both regional and global order. Morally, choosing an action in the face of clear threats itself is a decision with consequences. It allows suffering, violence, and injustice to persist and sometimes grow. Contention 1. Military intervention prevents humanitarian catastrophes. History provides tragic examples of consequences of strict non-intervention. In 1994, the international community failed to act in Rwanda, leaving forces unable to stop genocide. Over the course of only 100 days, an estimated 800,000 people were killed. The magnitude of the suffering is almost impossible to comprehend. Children lost parents, entire communities were destroyed, and survivors carry trauma for life. Intervention can prevent these tragedies when applied responsibly. The NATO intervention in Kosovo in 1999, for example, successfully stopped systematic ethnic cleansing, protecting thousands of civilians from death and forced displacement. On a moral and emotional level, intervention is not simply a military tactic. It is a tangible act of saving human lives, providing protection to those who cannot defend themselves. Non-intervention, even when intended to respect sovereignty, can allow mass atrocities to continue, which raises serious ethical questions about passivity in the face of known harm. Contention 2. Intervention maintains U.S. strategic power and deters aggression, which is crucial for global security. Intervention is often a moral imperative when human rights and global stability are at stake. While critics argue that intervention carries risk, responsible and limited military engagement aligns with the ethical duty to protect innocent lives. Non-intervention, though seemingly principled, often enables predatory regimes or extremist groups to exploit power vacuums, leading to avoidable harm. Each day of inaction is a moral decision to allow suffering to continue. Global stability is not guaranteed. Threats grow when aggressive actors sense that no one will respond. For example, China's expanding military presence in Africa, including a permanent base in Djibouti, reflects how power vacuums are exploited when the U.S. practices non-strict intervention. 4 deployed U.S. alliances in Asia, meanwhile, have successfully deterred North Korean aggression and helped maintain peace for millions of people in the region. The moral aspect of this is clear. Failing to act when capable allows innocent populations to suffer under aggressive regimes, while intervention can prevent harm and uphold justice. Non-intervention may appear safe in short term, but it morally and practically abdicates responsibility, leaving civilians vulnerable and emboldening potential aggressors. On a psychological and social level, intervention reassures both domestic populations and international allies that threats will not be ignored and that human lives have value on the global stage. Contention 3. Intervention deters terrorism and prevents conflicts from escalating into larger crises. ISIS demonstrates the importance of proactive action. U.S.-led coalition airstrikes and military operations degraded ISIS territorial control, significantly limiting its ability to commit mass violence or recruit internationally. Without intervention, ISIS could have grown unchecked, causing exponentially more harm than more human suffering. Historically, U.S. intervention in World War II stopped Axis expansion, preventing domination of Europe and Asia. Millions of lives were saved, and societies that might have been enslaved or annihilated were preserved. Beyond numbers, consider the human experience, the mental trauma of living under constant fear, the grief of families losing members to avoidable violence, and the despair of communities facing annihilation. Intervention, when targeted and responsible, mitigates these human costs and provides a moral action against oppression. Non-intervention would have allowed these threats to escalate, creating far greater suffering and undermining global security. In conclusion, strict adherence to non-intervention risks humanitarian catastrophes, undermines U.S. influence, and allows threats to fester unchecked. Military intervention, when applied responsibly, prevents mass atrocities, deters aggressions, and destabilizes regions. Morally, intervention honors the responsibility to protect human life and prevent suffering. Non-intervention, while seemingly principled, often permits harm to occur and denies the U.S. the ability to act as a global stabilizing force. For these reasons, I urge the judge to negate the resolution and affirm that the United States military should not be bound by the principle of non-intervention. Thank you.